Hello, tea friends. This is Barb Gully of Barb's Tea Service, and we're back in the studio for our podcast. I'm here with co-host, studio engineer, and arm candy, Chris Gully.
It's a heavy burden
to do all that.
I know.
And you do it well.
Yeah, I know.
So today, Chris, we are in the double digits.
Amazing. I say that. Which number is this?
10.
10. Oh, so I think this is also going to be rated 10 out of 10 podcast.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yes.
As we're the rating.
That's only fair.
It is. It is.
We're putting in the work.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So today, our theme is going to be Tea Time.
Yes.
Tea Time magazine.
What a great publication that is.
It's an awesome publication. And we were set to do a whole different topic, but Tea Time magazine came in. If you're a subscriber, you get a little bit early. That's a plus.
Right.
And it had my article about Lady Carnarvon.
Yes.
An interview we did with her back a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And we're also going to be talking about the real Downton Abbey and Downton Abbey adjacent.
Yes.
And tea adjacent.
Sometimes we have to stretch.
Yes. But it's still all tea. There's tea related stuff. Okay. So, but first, tea.
Here we go. I'm pouring.
Okay, today we're drinking English breakfast tea.
Yes.
We had Scottish breakfast tea a few podcasts ago.
We did.
When we were talking about Scotland.
Right.
But this is English breakfast tea. And I'm going to take a little sip.
Uh-huh.
How do you like this?
Well, so I like it. It's a to me. Well, it's a I think the Scottish breakfast was very kind of robust. This is a little bit lighter.
Yes.
But I think it still kind of has a nice caffeine kick to it. It's got like some astringency into it, and a comfortable amount of bitterness. And I was trying to figure out there's another kind of element in there. Maybe I don't know, kind of a. Am I picking up a maltiness or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Right. And I loved how you described it because it really is earthy, tolerable bitterness.
Right.
And that malty taste, which is very prevalent in the Irish and Scottish breakfast tea. And it's dialed back a little bit for the English breakfast tea. So I love how you nailed it there.
Wow.
I think you did a really good job.
Thank you. I'm getting better at this.
You are. And I like it. We're back, and it's in the morning. We like our caffeine indulgence as well, but this is very nice. Yep. So, any thoughts on English breakfast?
Well, of course, I wanted your thoughts on this. We believe anything we find on the internet is absolutely 100% true, correct?
Of course.
Or maybe not. I don't know. But I was a little surprised to learn that the English breakfast, that style, or I don't know if it's not really a brand, but what we call it, didn't come from England.
Correct.
Yes.
It was in the 1800s. It was English ties.
Right.
The gentleman from England, he was in New York.
Right.
And he put this together for folks who had gone across and visited England and enjoyed the tea that they were served.
Right.
So he branded it English breakfast.
Yes.
So I think that people in England were drinking it, just didn't have that title.
They just called it tea.
Right. and they had it at breakfast.
That's right.
But I think what in this case it was another good marketing
Yes.
tartanery.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Where people were going, okay, it's English breakfast.
Right.
I like things associated with England.
Right.
And so that was kind of a nice brand.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Very interesting.
Learn that. So great. I had selected English breakfast today for two reasons.
Mm-hmm. Tell me.
Well, one, it was to tie into our interview with Lady Carnarvon, which is in the current Tea Time magazine.
Yep. So it's hitting the stands now, correct? Or if you're a subscriber, you get a little early.
Yes.
Okay.
If you're a subscriber, you
Right.
get it early. That's a great perk of
Right.
subscribing. But it'll be on the newsstands at libraries and different
Bookstores.
retailers, right? And you'll get it towards the end of the month.
Okay.
Probably third week
Okay.
or so.
Great.
So when I sat down with Lady Carnarvon, I asked her what her favorite tea was.
Uh-huh.
She gave me two.
Yes.
One of them was Lapsang Souchong,
Mm-hmm.
which we had noted earlier we're going to devote some time in a future broadcast.
That is an interesting tea.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like drinking a campfire.
That's right.
It's very smoky.
Right.
So, and she also said that her other favorite tea was English breakfast.
Yes.
So we're having that in honor of Lady
Right.
Carnarvon.
Yeah.
The other reason is we're going to be talking about some historic English manners.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a nice tie-in to that.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So, okay, I am as you know, a contributing writer to Tea Time magazine.
Yes.
And I have been writing for them for about 10 years.
Yes.
First time was I was a contributor to the Tea Time Diaries.
Yes.
So that's readers can just write in something. And I wrote about a tea lady we had met in Denver, Colorado.
Right.
And from there, my first published paid article was on Downton Abbey, our visit to Highclere Castle in 2015.
And so the series was still active. I mean, it was maybe season 2 or something like that, or
I think it was winding down
okay.
about that time to about their
So
fourth or fifth season.
So this was so kind of as a sidelight. So we were in Great Britain, and so in the U.S. they'll show it on PBS, but it's like 6 months later.
Right.
So we were in England, and so we saw an episode of Downton Abbey. Right? Was that the year? And
You know what? I think that was in 2012 when we were in Ireland.
Okay. Oh, all right.
And we saw it 6 months earlier.
Right.
And
We had plot spoilers all over the place.
the fate of Lady Sybil.
Yes. Yeah.
And we knew that. And I remember when we were watching it when we returned home,
Right.
that nobody wanted to hear
No,
spoilers.
no.
So we kept it to ourselves. We were
Yes.
pretty good about that.
Yeah.
But when I watched it again,
Yes.
I was hoping for a different outcome.
Oh.
Like maybe something had changed or
No.
transpired. But
No.
anyway, yes. So that's another
Okay.
time that we did get to see
Right.
it early, but we did probably see it while we were in England as
Right,
well.
right.
This is the issue, and for those who are watching, I'm just going to show that.
Yep,
This was one of my first ones,
Right.
and we were in England. So this is 2015.
Right.
This article was published early 2016.
Right.
But when we went there this time, we went with Matt and Rachel.
Right. Our children.
Right. Rob didn't come this
Right.
time.
Mhm.
And when he was in the studio with us a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
he had mentioned the first time we all went together.
Right.
So this time Rachel and I went to do the Downton Abbey tour.
Uh-huh.
And we went to Bampton Village,
Yep.
which is where they filmed the village scenes of Downton Abbey.
Right.
And then we went to Highclere Castle,
Right.
a.k.a. the real Downton Abbey,
Right.
and did that whole tour. They don't let you take pictures.
No.
But
Yeah.
the pictures that you see in Tea Time are furnished by
Right.
Highclere Castle.
Right.
They want to control the image, obviously. And
It's their stock photos. Yep.
yes, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
So that was also a time where, while Rachel and I were doing all this stuff,
Mhm.
I think you and Matt kept pretty busy.
Yep.
But together we went to Buckingham Palace,
Uh-huh.
Hampton Court Palace.
Yes.
And do you remember where we went for tea?
So we've been to it. Was this the Claridge's?
It was,
visit?
yes.
So we had. So I think our MO for that was we'd fly. It's you're kind of flying overnight, and I try to sleep on the plane, but really cannot. So by the time you get there, you're running on fumes.
Right.
Been up for about 24 hours, and
all you want to do is sleep.
And so you really need to not do that because then you're going to blow 2 or 3 days getting on schedule. So you have to kind of force yourself. So we solved that by going to a ritzy or a very fancy tea room called Claridge's in London, and had a great time while trying to stay awake.
Exactly. It served two purposes. And I always like to share the pictures when I'm doing my tea etiquette talks. I like to show the ones from Claridge's because most renowned tea places will have an amazing offering.
Right.
But these desserts were masterpieces.
Yes.
They were beautiful.
Yep.
And as I like to say, almost didn't want to eat them. And yet
you overcame that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
did it.
So any other memories that you have from that trip? Any significant?
Well, so when you were off doing your trip, we took advantage of. We did a lot of walking in museums, and they have the British Museum and the Victoria and Albert Museum and British Natural History Museum, and so if you're a museum geek, you can really geek out on that. And then I think I can't remember if this was the trip. I stumbled across a really, to me, a great Italian restaurant in London.
Yes.
Called DeMario.
Yes.
Kensington.
Yes.
And so that kind of turned into our go-to place every time we would visit London. I'd like to get at least one meal there, and we've never been disappointed.
No, we did that subsequently the last couple times, but we tried to do that when we were there in the fall.
Right. And we had a little misunderstanding. Evidently, and this is why you travel, to find out things.
Yes.
There are 2 DeMario Italian restaurants completely unrelated to each other.
Right.
And so the staff there patiently explained that to us rather dull Americans.
There's more than one.
What?
We who live in a world of franchises.
Yeah. So, but anyway, and that was, I would say, just as great.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. The food was fabulous, and so was the service.
Yeah.
So, okay.
All right.
All right. So, as I mentioned, that was in Tea Time. That article with Lady Carnarvon was in Tea Time 2016, and we had a scheduling conflict, mostly on Lady C's part because very, very busy woman.
Yeah, I mean, she's running an estate.
Exactly. And so we conducted the interview via phone and email.
Right.
But this time, and before I talk about the interview, but they also, Tea Time had a special edition, British special edition, that was an update of our article from 2016. This was 2019 in anticipation of the first Downton Abbey movie, which was great. And then we met up with Lady Carnarvon, as I mentioned earlier, almost 2 years to this date.
Yeah.
And we met her in Newport, Rhode Island.
Right.
And she was there as part of a Gilded Age Downton Abbey event.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fans of both series.
Right.
They have a common denominator. Do you know what that is?
Oh, I should know this. What was it?
The writer and creator is
Julian Fellows.
Right.
Yes.
That's the common denominator.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I was looking for some deep meaning here. No.
Yes.
All right.
So there is a connection. So for the Gilded Age and Downton Abbey.
Right.
I always referred to Gilded Age as the prequel to Downton Abbey.
Right.
And it involves the nouveau riche families
right.
who, and this Gilded Age period is roughly post Civil War
Uh-huh.
to 1900, early
Right.
1900s.
Right.
So this is where all this crazy wealth came about.
Yeah. Great wealth was being created, and people needed to spend it on stuff.
And they did.
And they
right?
did, yes.
And very ostentatious. And in Newport,
Mm-hmm.
they had built, that was where the old and new money built
Right.
these cottages.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
60,000 square foot.
Yeah.
And we had talked earlier about the Gilded Age mansion in Florida
Uh-huh.
that we went to see,
Flagler.
Flagler in
Right.
Palm Beach. So this was another enclave
Right.
of the wealthy. And these were the homes of some of the Vanderbilt families.
Mhm.
We have the Breakers, that's the biggest.
Right.
Marble House,
Mhm.
owned by Alva
Mhm.
Vanderbilt, and her connection to
Oh. So this Churchill, right?
oh yeah oh so all right, a little skip there.
Yeah.
So Alva Vanderbilt, her daughter Consuelo,
Right.
married the Duke of Marlborough,
Right.
and that he really needed the money.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Remember
right.
that?
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
that money, her
Right.
dowry,
Yeah.
just replenished
Yeah.
Blenheim Palace.
Right. Right.
But as you noted,
Right.
that is where Winston Churchill was
Yes.
born.
It's kind of like 6 degrees.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't planned.
No.
But his mother was a partier right
Yeah.
down to the.
Yeah. Last minute.
So when we visited there,
Right.
that was back probably 2018.
Uh-huh.
That was something, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was great. Yeah.
Okay, so back to Lady Carnarvon. So we were there in Newport, and you and I have been to Newport
Uh-huh.
before
Yep.
and toured the cottages, and Rachel and I did this as
Right.
well. But we met Lady C at the patio of the Breakers, and we
Right.
got to sit down. This time it was in person,
Right.
face to face,
Yep.
just wonderful. She's super charming,
Yeah.
very pretty woman,
Yeah. Very gracious.
very gracious. And this was when we met with her, they were promoting two things. The second Downton Abbey movie came out,
Right.
had just come out,
Right.
and she had also written a book,
Right.
The Earl and the Pharaoh.
Uh-huh.
This is about her husband's great-grandfather
Right.
and his expedition.
King Tut.
King Tut,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So that was very special, and that is in this most recent
Right.
article of Tea Time.
Mhm.
And when I asked Lady C, this last sneak peek into the article
Right.
I'll give, because the article is she gives us a lot of information. But I asked her what her favorite tea room was,
Uh-huh.
and her favorite tea room, she said, when I'm in London, I go to the Ritz.
As we all do.
We do. And that was, so the last article I wrote for Tea Time was the March-April issue
Mhm.
with Dickon and Angel Strawbridge.
Right.
And when I asked her what her favorite tea room, she had two in London,
Right.
but one was the Ritz.
Uh-huh.
Everybody loves the Ritz.
What's not to love?
There's nothing not to love.
Okay.
That was our first experience
Right.
of afternoon tea in London. That
Yep.
was with you, me, and Rachel.
Yeah. Now we had so in New York City, Manhattan,
Yeah.
there's also tea at the Hotel Ritz, right? In Manhattan, where was that?
That was the Palm Court.
Yeah. Was that the Ritz Hotel? I think
Yes,
it was.
yeah.
I'm just
And that was just last
yeah.
few months ago.
They start blending together.
They
right?
do.
Right.
They do.
All right.
Yes, that was an amazing
Yeah.
place. Okay, so we like the Ritz.
Yes.
The oddly enough though, the Paris Ritz, their afternoon tea was just sort of
It was French.
it was there's no pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
They're like, here's your afternoon tea.
Yeah.
We love the
I'm
French.
going to go smoke a cigarette.
Okay. So before I move on, I just want to say that with the last, I already said last thing with Lady C, but the other thing I wanted to mention was that I had asked Lady Carnarvon if there was going to be a third Downton Abbey movie.
Uh-huh.
And she said, that's up to you,
Right.
America.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
the second movie went over was going to really determine if
Yeah.
it was going to go forward.
Right.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Article had gone to print, and it was announced just when that happened.
I mean, like within a week, wasn't it?
Yes, that they were going to be starting the third
Yeah.
Downton Abbey movie.
Right.
So excited about that.
Yeah.
And another tie to Downton Abbey
Mm-hmm.
was in the first movie.
All right.
There's a subplot
Oh,
about
yes.
Princess Mary,
Uh-huh.
who is the daughter of King George V
Uh-huh.
and Queen Mary.
Right. And the sister of the two kings.
The two kings, the
Yep.
one that abdicated
Right.
for Wall Simpson, and then the one who was Queen Elizabeth's father, and
Right.
King Charles'
Mhm.
grandfather. So there's this subplot of Princess Mary, because the movie's all about this, the Crowley's getting ready for this
The visit.
royal visit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so Princess Mary's in this little story about her husband, and it's kind of implying that he's sort of in control, and she's
yeah.
a little subservient.
Yeah.
But, it has a good ending.
Right.
And I was rather intrigued about this subplot of Princess Mary,
Mm-hmm.
and found out that there was a recent biography a couple
Right.
years ago by
Mhm.
Elizabeth Blasford, and she wrote about Princess Mary, kind of this forgotten
Yes.
princess, but maybe the first modern princess. That's her assertion,
Right.
that she's like Princess Di,
Mhm.
because she went and she did things. She
Right.
literally rolled up her sleeves and worked in kitchens and that
Right.
to help the misfortunate.
And she's also involved with taking care of soldiers during World War One.
Exactly.
And that sort of thing. So she just kind of got into it.
Right. So she ended up marrying a very wealthy aristocrat,
Yes.
LaSalle,
Mm-hmm.
or Lassell. They say Lassell.
Right.
And with his money, she had a lot of freedom, because even
Right.
though she was a royal,
Yeah.
not necessarily,
Yeah.
you know,
Not a whole lot of loot went with that one.
no. So his ancestral home was Harewood House.
Uh-huh.
And some of the movie is filmed at Harewood.
Right. But some of it was CGI'd, and so there's kind of a cute story. We're asking the tour guide there.
Because we went to Harewood
Yeah.
last fall.
Right.
Just FYI.
Yeah. And so we're asking about this. A look of weariness comes over her face, and she says,
The ballroom.
The ballroom scene. There's no ballroom here. That was all Hollywood effects. And it's like, oh.
I was a little crestfallen, because
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to that. But
Yeah.
she said, people kept coming in after that movie.
Yeah.
Where's the ballroom? She's like, there's no ballroom.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
there you have it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. They have a phenomenal library in
Yeah.
there,
Uh-huh.
and the setting,
Mm-hmm.
the patio where Tom danced with his
Yep.
new love interest.
Yes.
That's there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there's some authentic
Yeah.
stuff.
Uh,
Okay.
And just if I can just with our trips, I think we've become aficionados of certain types of tour guides. So we talked about our tour guide in Bath,
Yes.
and then we had a tour guide at the Harewood House. He was good, but maybe a trifle bit unctuous.
Yes.
And his laugh, and I'm going to do my impression of his laugh. That's it. That was it. So that's all I remember about that.
Because we asked him the proper pronunciation.
Of Harewood House.
Is it Harewood House
Yeah.
or Harewood?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, that depends on who you ask. And then he goes into this. And you thought he was like,
Having a stroke.
it was just odd.
Yeah. Anyway.
Really oddly eccentric. So, okay, just a reminder that more of Lady C, Highclere Castle, Downton Abbey is in the current issue of Tea Time magazine.
Yes.
And also a reminder that that's what we do at Barb's Tea Service.
Yes.
If you're a big Downton Abbey fan, Gilded Age fan, or you want to learn more, this is what we do for
Yep.
our tea talks.
Yes.
And as you can tell, I really love to talk about it. So
It's great.
all right, so keep that up. And it's also in our blogs, too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we've got a few minutes left.
Yep.
And wanted to share some viewer feedback.
Yes, which we love.
We absolutely love. And one of our listeners went back to our podcast on Scotland. We
Right.
talked about how we had
Right.
Scottish breakfast tea
Uh-huh.
earlier. And we had noted that at one of the afternoon tea we had at Prestonfield,
Right.
we had haggis croquettes.
Yes.
And she sent us an article
Uh-huh.
from the gentleman who writes economics for English majors.
That's right,
Which
yes.
I can really appreciate.
Uh-huh.
And do you want to talk a little bit about this vegan haggis?
So
Haggis.
this author attended some event in Scotland and was noting that he saw on the menu that they were offering some abomination called vegan haggis.
Yes.
And so haggis it's one of those peasant foods that people like, and so we actually tried it, and to me it's like close to like a stuffing.
Yes.
It's that very kind of savory, but it's made up of very cheap meats, and actually just occurred to me, also has something in common with clotted cream, in that you cannot legally purchase either haggis or clotted cream in the U.S.
Okay. Because of the way they process?
Because, it won't pass inspection.
Well, the haggis is comprised of offal?
Yeah, OFFAL, and which is just, bits of parts that, you don't normally eat, and or like on purpose.
Yes.
And anyway, it's processed and mixed in with oats and grains, and,
Right.
and cooked in. Originally, they were cooked in, I think, intestines and
Yes.
steamed, and so that's kind of how that comes about.
You literally don't want to know how the sausage is made.
That's correct. Yes, but anyway, so then vegan haggis is like what?
I think you had said it was filling a void that wasn't there.
That's right. Yes, I think so. Yeah. Anyway,
So, how many? Where are we with? Oh,
I got
okay.
a couple minutes.
All right. So I thought that was funny because, he likened it to, if there was a need,
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
as if, if there's a substitute,
Right.
then you would expect if that
Yeah.
one product that
Right.
its price goes up,
Right.
maybe people are going to buy this more.
Right. Yeah.
But
No takers.
yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay.
So the other item I wanted to mention was we had some listeners who were very curious about the salt cellars.
Right.
Do you know what they did? They actually went
Yep.
and, well, yeah, you do know what they did.
Yeah. They have a collection of salt cellars.
So they went and
Yep.
kind of did a treasure hunt
Uh-huh.
within their
Yep.
own
Right.
china cabinets and that, and they shared some pictures of them,
Uh-huh.
and also gifted me one with, it was Art Deco,
Amazing. Yes.
pressed glass,
Yes.
but it has a very tiny reservoir.
Yep.
So if I were using this to serve clotted cream or lemon curd,
Uh-huh.
I probably would give it to somebody else
There you
because
go.
I like a lot. But I appreciate it and I love it, and it's going to be in the blog.
Okay.
So I think we're
I think we are.
up.
There it is.
All right. It's telling us it is time to wrap up.
Yep.
And I want to again thank On TV
Right.
for letting us be in the studio.
Yep.
Thank my wonderful co-host.
You're welcome.
And we will, all the things we talk about are in the blog.
Right.
And et cetera. So
Right.
I want to thank everybody. Love the viewer feedback.
Yep.
And
Keep it
again,
coming. All right.
please stay tuned.
We are out.